Sometimes, well, most of the time for us at Goalside, we do like to wonder about those players who made it a priority for us to fall in love with the game and never look back. Growing up, a lot of us must have watched the rise of the first version of Real Madrid's Galacticos, a group of supremely talented players that included Ronaldo Nazario, Luis Figo, Zinedine Zidane, Raul Gonzalez, and Roberto Carlos. These men guided Los Blancos to quite a bit of domestic and continental success. Then, there was a time when Sir Alex Ferguson was single-handedly masterminding the rise of Manchester United with the legendary Fergie fledglings, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes and Gary Neville becoming part of the club's illustrious history. And how can we ever forget about Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp and Robert Pires, who were the cornerstones of an Arsenal side that would give a torrid time to the Red Devils on more than one occasion. Once Chelsea grew rich and famous thanks to the arrival of Roman Abramovich, we got to see the arrival of a few larger-than-life figures at Chelsea, led by Ivorian legend Didier Drogba, and the rise of Frank Lampard as one of the highest-scoring midfielders in Premier League history. The same era coincided with the remarkable rise of Jose Mourinho, who would anoint himself the Special One, a title that has stuck with him to this date. The Portuguese tactician has been able to get the best out of many strikers during his storied managerial career. Apart from Drogba, he managed Zlatan Ibrahimovic and got the best out of Diego Milito as well. However, if there's one striker who we sometimes forget thriving under the current Tottenham manager, it's the legendary Cameroon international Samuel Eto'o. Many consider him as one of the greatest strikers to ever play the game, and it wouldn't be wrong to assume that perhaps George Weah was a legend at AC Milan, Nwankwo Kanu, Didier Drogba, Michael Essien, the late Sheikh Tiote, Demba Ba and Papiss Cissé are just some of them. So in this video, we're going to present some arguments that make us think of him as the greatest African player of all time. We're going to look at his overall ability, his qualities and how much he won for both club and country, because if truth be told, not many African players have won so much silverware like Eto'o has. Eto'o, in his prime, was a trader of goals and there was no other currency he would deal in. While he might not match the likes of Abede Pele and George Weah when it comes to technical prowess, the rate at which he scored goals was absolutely phenomenal. Between 2002 and 2011, Eto'o boasted a goal ratio of 1 every 1.6 games, which is remarkable in any era. Not many players score that freely, but the Cameroonian was an exception. His European career truly started out at RCD Mallorca, who were pretty much always involved in a relegation scrap. However, that didn't impact Eto'o's scoring ability. Despite spending 3 years with them, he's still their all-time leading goalscorer. In 55 appearances for Mallorca, Eto'o scored 65 goals and provided 7 assists. Again, this was his first regular spell in European football after not being given enough opportunities by his first European club, Real Madrid. He loved playing at Mallorca and really connected with the club's fans there. Once, in a Copa del Rey final against Recreativo de Huelva, the Cameroonian donated €30,000 in meals for the travelling supporters. Following his feats with Mallorca, Eto'o signed for Barcelona in the summer of 2004. Signing him up was not easy since Real Madrid partly owned the player despite selling him. However, due to a non-EU players ruling and Barcelona's lucrative offer, he ended up arriving at Camp Nou. It was at Barcelona where he would experience a rapid propulsion towards stardom. In his first season, he won the league title for Barcelona and during a title celebration party had some choice things to say about Madrid, for which he was fined by the Royal Spanish Football Federation. While his first season was a success, Eto'o was not able to win the Pichichi Trophy. However, the Cameroonian would manage to clinch the trophy ahead of Valencia striker David Villa on the final day of the 2005-06 season in a game against Athletic Bilbao. In the same year, Barcelona won the Champions League title, and Eto'o scored 6 goals during the successful campaign. Based on his consistent performances, he was awarded with the UEFA Best Forward of the Year award. That same year, he'd win a 3rd consecutive African Player of the Year. The star striker would take this award as a win for all of Africa, and after finishing 3rd in the running for the FIFA World Player of the Year award, it was confirmed that Eto'o was on his way to becoming the greatest African player of all time. After spending some time injured, he got back to his best at the start of 2008 and would finish with a total of 16 league goals and only 18 league appearances. He also recorded the fastest hat-trick in Barcelona history, scoring 3 goals in 23 minutes against Almeria. The very next match, the striker scored 4 goals in a 6-0 mauling of Real Valladolid. During the 2008-09 season, Eto'o scored 30 goals and guided Barcelona to yet another league title. He didn't win the Pichichi Trophy, but scored the opening goal of the 2009 Champions League final against Man United, which Barcelona won 2-0. This was a fearsome Barcelona strike force, boasting Lionel Messi, Eto'o and Thierry Henry, who scored 100 goals between themselves. But the final win was to be Eto'o's last contribution to the club, as he would be involved in a deal with Inter Milan that would see Zlatan Ibrahimovic go the other way. Upon his arrival in Italy, Eto'o made sure to let the media know that he wasn't coming to San Siro in order to replace Ibrahimovic. The Cameroonian was eager to make his own mark, which he did in style, helping Jose Mourinho's side become Serie A champions after scoring 12 goals and also guaranteeing yet another Champions League title for himself. Inter beat Bayern Munich in the final, and Eto'o became the only player to win a treble in consecutive seasons with two different teams. After another strong season with Inter Milan, in August 2011, he would sign for the cash-rich Russian giants Anzhi Makhachkala. Eto'o signed a 3-year deal, which made him the highest-paid player in the world with a salary of €20 million per year. His spell in Russia is seen by many as the player's attempt to make as much money as he could because a few years later, the club's owner, Suleiman Kerimov, decided to scale down the club's ambitions. This resulted in most of the star players being transfer listed. Eto'o was one of those players, and he would sign with Chelsea on a 1-year deal. Once he signed for Chelsea, it was expected that he would once again start producing the same displays that made him such a lethal striker during his time at Barcelona. However, age was quickly catching up to him, and even though he did make a great start to life at Stamford Bridge, his overall performances weren't enough to warrant another year with the club. Once released, he had a lot of options on his table, but he decided to sign for Everton on a 2-year deal. 4 days later, after signing with the Toffees, he scored in a 3-6 home defeat to Chelsea. He would score a brace in the 3-1 win over Burnley, but it had become clear that the fire had started dying down. 6 months later, after scoring 4 goals in 20 games, he left Goodison Park to sign for Sampdoria. That was to be a 6-month stay, as he would be on the move once again, this time signing for Turkish outfit Antalyaspor on a 3-year deal. After scoring 13 goals in 15 games, Eto'o even became the club's interim player manager after Yusuf Şimşek was fired. Eventually though, he left Antalyaspor for Konyaspor and would head out to the Middle East to sign for Qatari outfit Qatar SC. Although he was never a nomadic striker, Eto'o did show signs of wanting to experience new things the moment that he felt his powers were waning. Nonetheless, purely based on what he did for the national side, the striker deserves a lot of credit. Only Yaya Toure has won 4 African Player of the Year awards, and even the Ivorian powerhouse can't come close to Eto'o's trophy haul. He never produced magical moments like the legendary Weah, but he more than made up for that with a truly remarkable knack of scoring goals regularly. He scored 18 goals in 6 editions of the African Cup of Nations, and he could have achieved a lot more for the national side had he not retired following the 2014 World Cup after 118 appearances, scoring 56 goals. He became an African champion twice and also won an Olympic gold in 2000. While the last few years of his career saw him try one thing after another, one thing's for sure, he was a truly gifted striker who knew how to find the back of the net. Moreover, he was always shining in games that mattered the most, which in all honesty isn't an easy thing to do. Now that he's retired and was recently involved in a horrific car crash from which he's recovering, we can be sure that Eto'o's part in making football history is still not over.